Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting and give you my opinion on them, including Roku is adding 13 new free channels. We'll tell you what's happening there as they come to Roku Players, Roku TVs, and more. Netflix is also ending support for some older Fire TVs. It's kind of that end of life cycle. We'll tell you which ones and some good news about upgrading. And Dish and DirecTV are at war once again. After the failed merger that saw some of the more competitive ads kind of vanish for a while, they're back at it. They're fighting hard. We'll tell you why that may be good for us consumers. These stories and a whole lot more coming up in a quick second. First though, if you're new here, you can always find a link to every story I talk about in the show notes and in the first pinned comment, so you can come up with your own opinion. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, do me a favor, consider hitting that subscribe button or hitting that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so YouTube recommends our videos to more people, helping us grow and hopefully helping you break free from the high cost of TV and still watch the shows you enjoy. All right, let's dive into it. The Roku channel is adding 13 new free channels here. Now this comes as Roku's been aggressively growing their free ad-supported streaming service. You've probably seen these channels on many different ones, including a new Cops channel, some Spanish channels, including a new Smurfs channel is now available there in Spanish, which is nice. Now the Roku channel is not just available on Roku televisions, but also on Roku streaming players, Fire TVs, Google, and other streaming devices now have the Roku channel available, including phones and tablets. But with this, you get channels like Roku Sounds of Summer, Storage Wars by A&E, Chaos Cam by A&E, Classic Car Auctions by the History Channel, Taste Made Travel, Taste Made Home, The Incredible Dr. Pole, QVC2, and more are now all free with the Roku channel. Check that out. Again, 100% free ad-supported content, been growing. Roku channel now has over 500 live channels, original programming, and more, all available there. Link in the show notes if you want to see the full list of all of them available. All right, if you own a Fire TV, heads up, it's starting to happen. Some first generation Fire TVs will be losing access to Netflix. Now, not a new thing. You've seen this with Roku for a while. Some very old Roku players, 10 plus years old, are losing support. Well, Amazon's Fire TV is now over 10 years old. It's starting to lose support. So we're seeing that slowly happen. With this, Netflix is on June will end support where their apps will stop working on first generation Fire TV sticks with that. That is the stream players with Fire Alexa voice remotes, all of which to be first were released in 2014. So about 11 years ago, these streaming players came out. Not a bad lifespan. If you really think about 10 years of support is a lot longer than you get with a lot of other things out there. Now, the good news is Amazon's Fire TVs are on sale right now. Link in the show notes if you want to learn more. If you want to try to pick up one a little bit cheaper, good news. With that said, though, it seems like they've almost always been on sale recently. At least a lot more than normal. But good news, Amazon's Fire TVs on sale as the older models lose it. Now, if you have a newer model in the last 5 or so years, wouldn't freak out. It seems to be that Netflix in particular has been supporting streaming players for about 10 years. Part of the problem here is 10-year-old streaming players are significantly slower and more underpowered compared to newer models. That results in lack of ability to get some of the features they want on them. And they get sick of having a version of Netflix for older streaming players and a version of it for more powerful players. And that's why you're seeing end-of-life support for some of these out there. All right, let's keep moving along. Warner Brothers Discovery, while they've been rolling out their content to free ad-supported streaming service from Tubi to the Roku channel and a whole lot more, they've really become very aggressive opening up their back catalog of content to free ad-supported streaming services. Well, it's now been 3 years since they said they were going to launch their own streaming service. A lot of people are starting to wonder if that's going to happen. Now, officially, Warner Bros. Discovery said that they still intend to launch it when the time is right, but they stopped short of saying when that time is right, market factors, and more. Now, one of the truths here is running your own service is difficult. You've got to build the infrastructure, the app, you got to support it, servers, technicians, and more. Plus, it's a very crowded field right now of ad-supported streaming services. Seems that Warner Bros. Discovery has decided they would rather just roll out their content to all these other services like Tubi, the Roku channel, and more. While yes, they may not get quite as much ad revenue from that, they reduce a lot of the costs that comes with that. They're not having engineers build and maintain apps, servers, and the rest. Roku, Tubi, Fox, all these other companies that have their own ad-free supported streaming services, they have to do that, while Warner Bros. Discovery just collects a check from older content they're not doing anything with. We've already seen a mild contraction within the ad-supported world with the Redbox and Crackle and others shutting down. I wasn't surprised to see a little bit more contraction, but the overhead's relatively small. The upside's very big with these, as free ad-supported streaming services have become very popular. I do think, though, if Warner Bros. Discovery sees the market contracting, sees an opportunity, sees a way to jump into it, I think they will. There is one big company left that's not really doing free ad-supported streaming in a massive way, and that is Disney. While they've toyed with it a little bit and they have a few things out there free ad-supported on different platforms, it's a fraction of what you see other competitors of similar size doing. Paramount, Warner Bros. Discovery, NBC Universal are all far more invested in creating free ad-supported streaming content compared to what Disney does. It'd be interesting to see if they get into it in a stronger way. And yes, there is a handful of content out there, but not the hundreds of channels we see from their competitors. All right, let's keep moving along. Now, late last year, Dish and DirecTV's merger, which would have seen DirecTV take over Dish for $1 plus all the billions in debt they have with it for DirecTV and Sling, failed. And at that time, some of the more nasty advertising went away. Well, let me reassure you, that didn't last long. Dish has launched a new aggressive ad campaigns. Now, DirecTV's ads have been featuring pigeons, and now Dish ads are showing pigeons being hit with balls inside a, now not real ones, they're toy ones, inside a carnival kind of game atmosphere. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's good to see the world is kind of healing again, now that we see Dish and DirecTV nastily sending ads back and forth at each other. But with this, ultimately, it would be interesting to see what happens. I think this is a sign. The reason I bring this up is there's a lot of talk that the two companies will try again to merge. Seems like that may be dead. I'm not so sure they're going to try. I think DirecTV has kind of decided they're going to wash their hands of it. The debt owners behind DirecTV seem to be almost happy to let debt holders behind Dish seem to be happy to just let Dish go to bankruptcy. We'll see what happens. All right, if you're a Fubo subscriber, they have a new zone. They've rolled out a new thing called the Women's Sports with a new hub, or not a new thing called Women's Sports, a new hub for women's sports. I apologize, a little dyslexic moment as I talked and read. Women's Sports hub on Fubo will now give you access to the best of women's sports out there. This comes as more and more women's sports have been coming to TV. As we saw a nice bump, especially in the WNBA last year, with all the drama and excitement around Caitlin Clark and the other players, the controversies with all that and more, help bump ratings. Will that bump continue? Many companies are hoping it will, and they're investing heavily into it, betting that women's sports viewership will continue to grow with this. I think that's also a big factor that sports, I've said this many times, is one of the few things people still watch live, which means they have an unusually high ad revenue with it, versus reruns of old House episodes or something. And because of that, you see more women's sports on TV, which I think will help bring attention to women's sports and help grow the audience. It's also why you're seeing things like pickleball suddenly on prime time on CBS and other networks, and just sports being on TV more often versus reruns of shows, because it's a much more profitable way. Because if you want to watch a rerun of a show, you're going to Max or Peacock or Paramount Plus or something like that. You're not going to CBS to do that. Let me know, do you watch more sports or less? I'd love to hear from you. And lastly, a new report out there from the research firm Antenna says that 75% of Americans have tried ad-supported streaming. You know, I've talked a lot about how the number of paid subscriptions cord cutters are cutting back on in recent years. We've seen more and more people cut back on big packages with that. Instead, they're going to cheaper plans like ad supported, or just cutting back in the number of paid services or replacing them with free ones like Pluto TV, Tubi, the Roku channel, and others. With this though, it is kind of surprising to see 75% of Americans would rather do ads. So question to you, do you subscribe to ad supported plans? Is that work? Or are you willing to pay the extra and get the ad free version? Let me know. One of the big selling points to cord cutting was the ability to get away from ads. But with that, it has come with a price. Now, Hulu very famously quite a few years ago lowered the price of their ad-supported plan and said it was actually more profitable for them to have customers on the ad-supported than the ad-free, because the ad revenue grew and helped offset that. Now we are seeing a retraction a little bit in the advertising market as rates for advertising has dropped recently. We'll see how that all plays out. But let me know, are you switching over to ad-supported plans or not? Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care, be safe. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.